you, sir. This is the last talk. I'm glad, I suppose you'll be glad and I'll be glad too. I think one should go over briefly what we have been talking about the last two talks and the two question meetings. We talked about the chaos in the world, the great uncertainty for all of us. Life is becoming more and more dangerous, unpredictable, and the future, from what one observes as things are politically, economically, even socially, is rather grim. One is not pessimistic or optimistic, but these are facts. They are preparing for war. Man apparently has not learned from past history that killing another human being is of no value, doesn't solve any problems. But apparently that's the fashion, that's the national inheritance and accepted orthodoxy. And nobody seems to demonstrate, and there have been great many demonstrations about nuclear war, about this and that, but nobody, from the highest to the lowest, seems to demonstrate to end all wars, not a particular kind of war, atomic or a conventional war, or the types of war. But one has not given one's energy, or the drive, or the intensity to stop all wars. Of course, the politicians will never agree to that, nor the gurus, nor the highest Christian authorities. If they did, they wouldn't be the highest authorities. And also, we talked about the general disorder outwardly, and the inward disorder that we live in with. We talked about hatred spreading throughout the world more and more, and there seems to be no end to that. We talked also about human beings wounded psychologically from childhood, and the consequences of that hurt, the wounds that one receives while being educated in the family, education, college, university, and the whole process of living seems to breed a kind of inward hurt, which breeds isolation, fear, and this kind of neuroticism that seems to be common. And also we talked about, perhaps the most important thing, is relationship. How essential it is to find out for oneself, to live a life in which conflict doesn't exist in relationship. Sexual, the individual search for his own fulfillment, pursuing his own ambitions, and therefore the relationship is never complete. It's always divided like two parallel lines, never meeting. And that's what we call relationship. And therefore in it there's perpetual conflict. And the cause of that conflict, that lack of deep, fundamental relationship, is this sense of isolation. Not only the individual isolation, the very word indicates isolation, but that word too has a different meaning, indivisible. A human being who is not broken up, living at different levels of his life, business life, religious life, social life, family life, and so on. Such a human being cannot possibly have deep, abiding, lasting a relationship in which there is love. We've talked about it quite a lot. And also we inquired together into the nature of fear. Whether it is possible for human beings living in this ugly world to be totally free completely of all fear. Fear is a terrible thing. It darkens, shortens, it makes one's mind so brittle. And whether it's possible to be free of all fear, both psychologically and outwardly. Where there is fear, there cannot be generosity, cannot be that sense of great affection,